there, fellow travelers! China is one of the most fascinating and surprising places we've ever visited. In this compilation video, we've pulled together some of our most popular tips, cultural insights, and travel advice to help you make the most out of your trip to China. From shocking cultural differences to must-know do's and don'ts to food you really should try when you're there, this is your one-stop guide to learning about China.
So the first thing you need to know about are the toilets. First off, it's going to be a hole in the ground most of the time. Just be prepared for that, so get your squatting ready. So women wear dresses, skirts, stuff like that, makes it easier. Guys, good luck. We have a video actually helping you know the bathrooms here. Okay, so just know it's going to be a hole. Also, there's no toilet paper in the stalls. Okay, so you got to bring your toilet paper with you, or it's at the doorway when you walk into the bathroom. Also, the bathroom, when you go to the toilet part, there's a step up, so be careful. You don't want to trip and fall in the toilet here. Not fun. Okay, so that's the first thing that's going to shock you, are the toilets. The second thing you're going to shock you about here is how much people spit, and it's not just two, it's two. I mean, my son Caleb, I spit the other day. He's like, Daddy, you're not doing it right. You got to do it. Two. Guys, people do spit, clear their throat, because you have so much air pollution and stuff like that, that you will be spitting too. So just be prepared to hear a lot of kind of things on the train, on the metro, in the streets, all kinds of stuff like that. Men, women, kids, pretty girls, all kinds of people. The third thing is going to shock you is how bad the smog can be. Now today we got a beautiful day here in Beijing, but the first 2 days we were here, it was literally brown. We couldn't see the buildings across the street. The smog, when it's bad, will shock you how bad it truly is. And in the country, if you go to the countryside, we came from Xi'an to Beijing. It's about 1,000 kilometers. It was literally smog the whole way, and you will be shocked how bad the air quality can be. But then when you get days like today, you don't notice it, you don't care, because it is beautiful and you can actually breathe clearly. But make sure you bring some masks from the US or wherever you're coming from, okay? Number four thing that's going to shock you is the food. Yes, you can get dog meat here, and yes, you can get donkey meat. Donkey meat's actually not too bad. Dog meat, I couldn't bring myself to eat. I tried, but I just couldn't do it, okay? But there are pretty crazy stuff you can have here. Mountain lion, if you like, turtle soup, or all kinds of things you can eat that you're not used to at home. And so it will shock you some of the stuff on the menus. Now, those kind of things, dog, donkey, things like that, they're not at every restaurant, so don't worry, okay? But just be prepared that some of these things might pop up in the menu, okay? So sometimes I order food and I'm like, I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is. It just tastes good, I don't want to know, okay? The fifth thing that's going to shock you about China are the lines. Or I should say the lack of lines. There's so many people that's just a mad rush all the time for a line. So if you're going into the metro in Beijing or Shanghai or getting off, everyone goes at the same time. They don't let people off and then other people come in. The elevator works the same way. It's just a mad rush in and out. And if you're getting in line for anything, whether you're buying ice cream or candies or anything like that, you're going to have that same bam rush kind of thing. So be prepared for, don't leave any space in that line. Be right up on the person in front of you, because someone will sneak in front of you. Guaranteed, and that's going to shock you, the lack of lines. Hong Kong, they have lines, don't worry, but mainland, forget about it, okay? The sixth thing that's going to shock you about coming to China is people. There are people everywhere. Guys, there's 1.5 billion Chinese people, okay? So that's 5 for every 1 American. So if you're in the US, for every place you go, imagine there's 5 people there instead of just you. Okay, so you have things like that, so you are going to be surprised how many people there really are, and how they really are on top of each other and all over the places, and the rickshaws and the bikes and the cars and all kinds of stuff. So be prepared for that to shock you. But it is kind of cool because there are people everywhere, so you're never kind of alone, but it is really safe here. So even though you're not alone, you're still safe. So it's really cool. The seventh thing you're going to be shocked about here is how much they love Western babies. Our kids literally get their picture taken a few hundred times a day. I mean, people are taking pictures of me doing these videos, okay? But like my kids, they get mobbed because they're little Western kids and people love to take pictures of them. So if you're coming with your kids, be prepared for this, okay? Doesn't matter how cute you think they are, the Chinese guys think they're even cuter, okay? So be prepared for that, because that will shock you. The eighth thing that's going to shock you about coming to China is the traffic. Guys, traffic goes all the time. Cars going each way, buses and rickshaws and bikes and people and all kinds of stuff. You have to look the entire time when you're crossing. If you don't know how to cross the street, get with a group of Chinese people and wait for them to cross and follow them. And while you go, keep looking, because the cars and the buses, they won't stop for you. They'll hit you. Okay, so you really got to pay attention. So sometimes you stop in the middle and you like weave your way through. So be ready for that. So that'll kind of shock you when you're here. The ninth thing that's going to shock you, and for parents this is one of those things, is you'll see little kids pooping and peeing on the streets. And you'll see little kids and they'll have slits in the back of their pants, and they'll just squat down and take a dump or take a pee, and the parents just leave it there. Sometimes, like my son, he kept asking about it until he saw at the Forbidden City a dad holding his kid up and the kid's pooping into the trash can through his crack in the pants. And my son never talks about poop anymore. That traumatized. So be prepared for that shock of seeing little kids poop and pee. You don't see so much of that in Shanghai and Beijing, but you will see a lot once you get out of the major cities. So just be prepared that it might not be doggy doo-doo on the road. It might be Dougie's doo-doo, okay? And the 10th thing that's going to shock you about coming to China is just really how wonderful the people are, because I'll be honest, the Chinese people here are fantastic. They're friendly, they're helpful. Even if they don't speak English, they're still going to try to help you out and get you where you want to go, and it is great. And I've really enjoyed it. That's been my favorite part of China, is meeting the people and seeing how wonderful they really are. And I hope you get to meet a lot of Chinese people. When you come to China, it is a great place to visit. These are 10 ways you might offend Chinese people when you do come to China. I think it's important, especially if you're going to do business here, to know that you want to show respect, you want to not offend people and things like that. So here are 10 things that you might not realize that you do that may offend people. Now the first thing is, if you're going to do any kind of business thing, you're going to have a gift or they're going to give you gifts. And the thing is, you do not open gifts in front of the people that gave them to you. You save the gift until later, unless they tell you, no, open it now. Then it's okay. If it's like a really big gift or something like that you have to open, then it's okay. But in general, you do not open the gifts that people give you. You wait to open those until you go home, okay? Or back to your hotel or whatever. The second thing is, when you go to business lunches, you don't eat first, okay? The most senior executive goes first, or the oldest person at the table, they eat first. So you wait till they start and then you get to eat. Now they may say, since you're the guest, you can start, that's fine, but just know that in general, if no one says anything, it's best to wait until the most senior person starts eating, okay? The third way you may offend people is, it comes to business cards. Well, you'll notice when people give you your business card in China, they give it 2 hands. Also gifts, they'll give things with 2 hands. Guys, you receive and accept gifts and business cards with 2 hands. That's the respectful way to do things. Also with business cards, think of a business card as an extension of that person. So treat the business card with respect. Look at it, make sure you get the name right, all these kind of things. Lay it in front of you in the meeting so it looks like you're looking at their titles and stuff like that. Because the business card is kind of treated as an extension of the person, so make sure you treat it with respect. So hold it with 2 hands, look at it, keep it. Don't just stick it in your wallet right away, because that makes you think like that you don't care about them, okay? The fourth way you might offend people goes with chopsticks. Guys, if you put chopsticks straight down into rice, you don't do that. Chopsticks going straight down into rice, that's reserved for funerals, so don't do that. It can be a little bit offensive. Number 5 on our list of things not to do that might offend people or make them feel uncomfortable is, guys, you won't see too much love and stuff like that here in China. So when people, like Westerners, we tend to give lots of kisses and hugs and stuff like that. You may make your Chinese friends feel uncomfortable if you're giving smooches to your wife. PDA, not really an okay thing here, so be ready for that, okay? So hold your hands, that's fine. You can give a little smooch, but you want to stay away from that, okay? Sixth thing that you might do to offend people here is if you compare China and Japan. China and Japan have a really, really bad history together. So what you really shouldn't do is just say, oh, well, in Japan they do this, or I like stuff from Japan. They do not like those comparisons. So do not compare Japan and China to each other. They're not the same country. They're very little in common with them. So do not compare the two, all right? Because you will offend people with that one. Also, number 7, don't point. Guys, if you want someone to come, you don't do this. That's bad. What you do is you do this. Say, oh, come here. You do this, okay? Because if you point at people or say come here, that's offensive to them, so don't do that. Number 8 on our list, and this is one that I've seen a lot of professors here make the mistake, is if you invite someone out to eat, like, hey, let's go have dinner, I'm inviting you out, that means you pay. The person that invites, they pay the bill, okay? So if you have a translator, or you have someone, then you say, hey, will you come out to lunch with me? And they say yes, they're expecting you to pay. And vice versa, if someone invites you out to dinner, they pay for you, okay? So just know that that's one thing I've seen a lot of Westerners, they've kind of upset their Chinese friends because he invited me out to dinner, took me to this place, but he didn't pay. Here, you don't go Dutch in China. It's whoever invites, they do the paying, okay? Oh, number 9 on this is one I didn't really know about, but if you're going to give gifts, you bring gifts from the U.S., if your company's color is green, don't bring hats. A green hat means that your spouse is cheating on you or you're unfaithful, so don't bring green hats. That's another way you might offend people. You may not realize it, but the Chinese people will, so be careful with that one, all right? Number 10, let's go back to those gift things. And the gifts, you don't want to give people a clock, because if you give people a clock, it means I want you to die, because I'm counting down the time until you're dead. So do not give a clock for a gift. And number 11, if you're lucky enough to get invited to a Chinese person's house, it is a great honor, and treat it like that. So you bring your gifts, but also when you go into their home, you take off your shoes, and they'll have slippers for you and stuff like that. Put those on, even though they're not your size, you'll be okay. But you do not wear your shoes inside people's houses. That is very offensive, okay?
And today what we have are 10 Chinese superstitions, because the superstitions here are a bit different than they are in the US and in other countries. Some are similar, some are a little different. So let's go through some of them. Now the first thing you need to know is when you go into a temple or any building, but especially a temple, you'll see these raised doorways. Do not step on the raised doorways. That is a very bad thing to do because it represents the shoulders of Buddha. And so at a temple, there are Buddhist temples, so you step on that, you don't want to do that. That's very, very bad. It's bad luck, it's not good for you to do, and it's disrespectful. So that's the first superstition. Don't step on the doorways. Okay? A second one is one I don't really have too much of a problem with because I don't have much hair, but if you get a haircut in January, it means you're going to bring bad luck for the whole year. You're cutting away your luck. So don't cut your hair in January. Number 3, and this is good for me, the rounder your fingerprint, the luckier you are. So my plump fingers mean I'm very lucky. Number 4 on our list is actually number 4, because the number 4 here is bad luck. Number 8 and number 6, that's good luck here. So you'll see people like passwords at hotels and stuff like that will be like 6666. You know, in the US, 666 is, hey, that's the mark of the devil. Here, hey, that's a lot of good luck. Okay, so that's number 4 is the lucky numbers. Also with unlucky stuff, you have number 5, and that's the raven or the blackbird. That's a sign of bad luck. So be careful if you see a blackbird. Number 6 on our list is if you have all this bad luck, you want it to go away, you say dafa, dafa, which is like go away, bad luck. Okay, so you want to do that. So that's number 6, to get rid of the bad luck. Number 7 on our list is looking at when you're going to have your room and your bedroom and stuff like that. It's bad luck to have your mirror facing your bed because it may steal your spirit away in your sleep. So be careful with that one. And the last 3 are basically for kids, and you hear these kind of a lot. Number 8, if a kid opens an umbrella inside. Now in the US, you open an umbrella inside, it's bad luck. But if you're a kid and you open your umbrella inside in China, it means you're not going to grow any taller, so you're going to be very little, and we don't want that. We want to be the next Yao Ming and go play in the NBA. Okay. Number 9 on our list is when Chinese kids ask where they're from, their parents tell them they got them from the dump. You know, we have the stork in the US, they have the dump or the garbage here. Okay, so these poor kids, where am I from? You're from the dump, I found you in the trash. Okay. And number 10 on our list is a combination of things. If a little kid they say if your little kid walks between your legs, he's not going to grow any taller. Man, they really want to keep their kids short here apparently. Okay, but also if you say, oh, I go between this guy's legs, it's kind of an insult to the other person. 5 things you're going to hate about coming to China. Now, the first thing you're not going to like, it's the pollution and quality control. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When you're in Beijing on a bad pollution day, you really shouldn't go outside. So make sure you get a mask to make sure you can breathe better. It's worth spending the money to get a good one. The ones they have here are fine, but bring the ones from home. You have a better chance of getting exactly what you want. And the other side of that is the quality control. I mean, there's good quality in China, but the quality control mechanisms aren't really there, so that's where you might have problems with the food, with the water. You do not want to drink the tap water when you're here. Don't drink the ice either, or eat the ice either. So that's the first thing you're not going to like, the pollution and the quality control issues. The second thing you're not going to like is, guys, there's tons of people here. There's 1.5 billion people in China. And so, like, imagine if you're in the US, there's 5 Chinese people for every 1 American. So imagine everywhere you go in the US, there's 5 people instead of 1 person. So it does get a little crowded. And with that, you're going to have some issues like getting bumped around, umbrellas bumping you in the head, all the sights when there's sun and stuff like that. Also, the thing is, waiting in line in China will drive you crazy because there's no lines. It's just a bum rush, mad rush for whether it's the train, the metro, or whatever. So that's going to be really annoying. I've known a lot of people have been really upset by that. So just be prepared for it. No line existence, just a mad rush for the door. Also, one of the things with all the people is there's a lot of spitting. So get ready for all kinds of stuff like that. So just be prepared for that, and you'll be much better off. So you have to tell us.
How you spit like the Chinese spit like.
The third thing you're not going to like is a lack of English. Now, I know in the guidebooks, I really get upset because the guidebooks say, oh, have your hotel write down in Mandarin the places for the taxi to go. The problem is a lot of the hotels, they don't speak English, or they have one person who might not be there when you need it. So you really need to learn at least a little bit of Chinese before you come to really get everything out of this. Even if it's just xie xie or bu yao. Bu yao is I don't want, and xie xie is thank you. It does make a big difference, but just know that there's no English, there's no German, there's no Dutch, things like that, nothing, okay? English, some of the young people do speak, but just be prepared for a complete lack of English when you're here, and because that's one thing I've heard a lot of the tourists complain about, and it can be an issue. We were at the hospital trying to, you know, I didn't speak Chinese, they were in the hospital, but at least we got the x-ray eventually after a few hours, okay? The fourth thing you're not going to like about coming to China is the bargaining. Everywhere you go for the souvenirs, the silk, the pearls, all these things, you're always bargaining. The first price they give you, never pay more than 50% of that first price, okay? You have to bargain things down, and it gets kind of annoying because I just want to get, you know, a couple souvenirs. No, we got to bargain for 15 minutes, things like that. So that can get a bit annoying and take up a lot of time.
and does get kind of frustrating when you're ready to just give me the price and I'll pay. Well, those prices they give you are very high, so always bargain down. So that's the fourth thing you're not going to like. And the fifth thing you're not going to like when you come here, and the biggest issue most people have, is the toilets. First off, it's a squat to pot country, so it's a hole in the ground where you're going to go to the bathroom, standing or sitting or whatever you want. It's squatting. Okay. Also, when you go in the bathroom, you're going to step up to get into the toilet area, so be careful that you don't trip and fall in, like some of my friends did here. Not a pleasant thing. Also, with the toilet paper is not in the stall. It's by the door when you walk in, or you do what most Chinese people do, and you bring the toilet paper with you. So those are 5 things you're not going to like about China, but I'll be honest, guys, China is fantastic. There's tons of stuff to love when you're here. The first thing you're going to love is the history and the historic places like the river towns that are here. I mean, the Great Wall. I mean, it's fantastic to go on here. It gets a little hot, yes, but guys, the historic stuff, Xi'an with the terracotta warriors, the Forbidden City in Beijing, going all throughout the country. There's so many fantastic historic places to see. I mean, Chinese history is thousands of years old, not hundreds, thousands of years old. And that's one of the things you're going to love. The second thing you're going to love is the majestic natural beauty. Now, when people from the US think of China, they think, oh, that's where my iPod comes from. But guys, the gorges, the mountains. I mean, look at this behind me. We're just, literally like an hour outside of Beijing, and you have beautiful mountains, all kinds of great stuff, and you're going to love the majestic atmosphere and environment here in China. And definitely take a tour that'll take you out into the countryside so you really can enjoy China. So get out of Beijing and Shanghai and see the real country, and it is beautiful. The third thing you're going to love about coming to China is the culture. Now, that can be the food, because guys, believe me, the Chinese food you have in America or in Europe, that's not Chinese food. The food here is fantastic. The fruits and vegetables are so fresh and alive is the best way to eat it, or to taste it, to describe it. The food on the street vendors is fantastic, but do not let your kids eat it. The State Department of the U.S. says don't eat it, but I have it every morning and it is awesome. But I wouldn't let my kids do it. So the food here is great. The culture, the tea houses, going to the Lama temples or the Buddhist temples are just so cool. Just all the Chinese traditions that are here. And we have videos like 10 superstitions of Chinese from China and 10 ways not to insult a Chinese person in China. So there's all kinds of great traditional differences here, and you really feel like you're in a completely different place. It's not like going to Europe. It's not like going to the U.S. It's not like going to Latin America. It is very different here, and it is fantastic. So the culture and tradition of China is the third thing you're going to love. The fourth thing you're going to love is your wallet's going to love. It is cheap when you come here. Eating, restaurants, sites, all kinds of stuff, taking tours. It is just really an affordable trip. I mean, literally, we're here for 5 weeks, and we spend as much money as I usually do for 2.5 to 3 weeks for the family in Europe. So you really do save a lot of money. It is a very affordable vacation to come here. Yes, it takes a while to get here, but the flights from the U.S. are the same price to go to Europe. So hey, why not take an extra 2 hours and come to Beijing and see China? I mean, it is awesome. And the fifth thing you're going to love about coming to China are the people. Guys, there's 1.5 billion people, so you don't seem like they like each other because they're always fighting or bumping into each other and saying, oh, go away. But the thing is, if you meet a Chinese person and they're your friend or family, they will take care of you. They will show you the city. They will tell you the history, and they're fantastic. And the people are just really warm and kind and very helpful. We were out in Beijing and it was pouring down rain. We're pushing our baby around. This guy's like forcing his umbrella onto us. No, you take the umbrella. You have a baby. And we're like, no, it's okay. But the people are really friendly, and even if they don't speak English, they will try to help you, and so that makes a really big difference because they are so friendly and kind. And if you have kids, be prepared to have like 3,000 pictures of your kids taken with the Chinese people when you're here, but they are really friendly, and they do say xie xie, which is thank you. And you say you're welcome, it's bukachi. So make sure you learn a little Chinese before you come.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and we're in Beijing, China. And these are a few tips about...
So one of the things is, when you got little kids like this, be prepared. Everyone's going to say hi. See, they all want pictures and say meet them and all kinds of stuff. So just be prepared for lots of pictures of your kids. You're welcome. So there you go, Kevin and Liam famous because all the kids want to have pictures.
How lovely.
Thank you. Xie.
Oh,
See, lots of pictures. All right. So let's get
Further up, she's saying. And you can turn your hand. Oh, this is so cool. How awesome. Yay! Caleb, you're doing really well. Well, Liam just got his first noodle with chopsticks, and we're hoping that he'll do it again. There you go! Oh, look at that face. Yes.
We're in Xi'an eating lamb soup, which is fantastic, by the way.
He just did this.
I know. Do patty cake, boys.
Big pack. Big here. Big here. Big here. Roll it. And put it in the pan. And mark it with the L for Leon.
Good job, boys.
They haven't put a ball in yet, so they're having a good time.
Tell me about it, Liam.
Maybe you can draw this angle. It's very pretty.
So the people in China are so nice. We're here having hot pot. And says, I have Liam on my side. I can only use one hand, and I got stuff all over myself. And they were nice enough to give me an apron to cover up. I mean, the people are wonderful here. So here are the boys on Tiananmen Square playing with their new Transformers. See? Here in Beijing.
Do you want him to be like this? Stop. That's not bad.
I know, you got the bubbles, buddy. Hello. Ni hao.
他说好，你看妹妹，你看妹妹，妹妹又来了，妹妹，妹妹，一个妹妹，一个弟弟，多好啊！
Thanks, Liam. We're here at the Great Wall, having a good time. You want your pasty? Can you take your pasty? So, have fun in China. It's great fun with the kids. Everyone loves the kids. Bye. There you go. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Can you say bye-bye? Say bye-bye.
But a lot of these people, especially in the larger cities, the tourists in those cities are often other Chinese from small towns who've never seen a Westerner, let alone a Western child. So they're crazy about taking pictures of our kids, and for the most part they do okay. The 2-year-old gets a little bit fussy, but it's something to prepare your kids with, and prepare yourself, because sometimes a little old lady will come up, grab your child and run off with her, and yes, you kind of tend to freak out, but you just slowly walk around behind them, and I'm sure she's just showing them to her husband or her kids or whatever. So prepare yourself and prepare your kids for the paparazzi. The second thing is to explain that the toilets in China, for the most part, are a porcelain hole in the ground, and they don't have Western-style toilets. I actually kind of like it because even though it's really malodorous, you can squat over it and not worry about touching anything that might be unpleasant. And no, it doesn't smell good, but it's really easy, and a kid can aim pretty easy. If you have little boys like we do, aiming into a hole in the ground is more easy than some of the toilets in the Western world. So just be prepared for that. Carry soap or antibacterial stuff. Any camping store, any decent camping store should have these little plastic containers, really small, and they have what looks like paper, but they're actually shavings of soap. And none of the public toilets here seem to have soap in them. They have sinks, but no soap, and I've always been told that soap is what kills the germs. So we carry that, as well as antibacterial wipes and or gels. You need to be wary of street foods with your kids. A lot of them are probably our systems being a little more developed, it's not a big deal for a lot of street foods, but little tummies get upset more easily sometimes, so just be wary. Fruits and vegetables and things probably are okay. I would watch out for meats and eggs unless they're well cooked and you're watching them be cooked really well. Water in China isn't drinkable, so you need to drink only bottled water. We try to avoid ice in the kids' glasses. I've had drinks with ice and it's been fine for me, but like I said earlier, little tummies tend to get upset more easily, so drink bottled water and also cans of soda, bottles of soda, because when it comes off the spigot, that's being mixed with the water coming from the tap, so that's not always a good idea to do either with your kids. On that note, it's a good idea to carry anti-nausea medicines for children. Kids under a certain age can't take Pepto-Bismol and Imodium like adults can. You need to get kids anti-nausea and anti-diarrhea medicines and keep them with you. Along that line, we've gotten a couple really big bug bites, and so my Afterbite came in really handy, you know, the little pen you rub on, and we've done a lot of walking, so the Neosporin to go, the little tiny container, and Band-Aids have been really handy here. So Afterbite, maybe a little Benadryl cream, those are good things to have. You can't always get Western medicines here, so it's a good idea to bring them from home, leave them in their original packaging. If not, sometimes as you go through customs, the Chinese will take them if they're not in sealed packages or if they're not obviously from the manufacturer. Some basics. Know the emergency numbers. Check your insurance. Make sure that it's viable here. Find a children's hospital ahead of time. And we had to actually get a children's hospital. The little one smashed his fingers in a door and we had to go for an x-ray. And the public hospital was a madhouse. They serve over 10,000 people a day. Of course, this was the main children's hospital in Beijing, so obviously 20-some million people live there. There's going to be a huge amount of people there. So what we did was we went across the street and we went to the private hospital. And by American standards, it was incredibly inexpensive. By Chinese standards, it was probably really expensive, but for us it was worth it. It was really clean and there weren't very many people. We didn't have to wait hardly half an hour to have anything done, and it was more simple for us and kind of put us more at ease. Also, more people spoke English, which was really helpful for us. Along with those basics, remember to always give your kid a hotel card and put it in their sock, because here people don't always speak English. We've actually run into a lot of people who, even in our hotels, don't speak English, so it's a good idea to have something written in Chinese so that you can hand it to somebody if you get lost and point that that's where you go. So another note on the basics, you need to know the emergency numbers. It's 110 for police, 119 for fire, and 120 for an ambulance. Something I learn about every country I go to, but they're all different numbers, so get those in your head and make sure that you know them. Something that's been helpful, but maybe you won't find it so necessary. We found a Western sort of market. We went to Carrefour, which I think is a French market, but they had some Western foods. It's a really fun experience. I love going to grocery stores in other countries, but sometimes it's a good idea to go somewhere that you know, and you know that you can get a few things that you know your kids will eat, because this is far different than many of the countries that we've been to. I mean, our oldest is 6 and he's been to, I think this is his 23rd country. But after about 10 days of Chinese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he wants some fish sticks or chicken nuggets or something a little bit more simple. So we've gone to the grocery store and picked up little things like that. Just, it makes them happy to have cheese and crackers. So try and find yourself something Western that you can tote along with you, even if it's just a can of yogurt. The last thing on my list is the smog. There is smog in almost every major city, even some not so major cities in China. And it's really hard to find masks for kids. And the only one that I've found that is adjustable and possible for little ones is called Toto Bobo, Totobobo. You can find it at totobobo.com. They're plastic masks. with little respirators on either side, and they're trimmable, so you can fit them down to pretty small faces. Our 6-year-old is fine with it. It does not fit our 2-year-old. And so we got here and we went and bought something that looks a bit like a hospital mask for him, and it gaps on the sides, so I don't know that it's actually doing any good, but sometimes I feel better about it. And he's 2, so he wears it all of 3 minutes. But it's a really good idea because today's not quite such a bad day in Shanghai, but there have been days when it has been completely brown outside, and we haven't wanted to leave the house, but we had those Totobobo respirator masks, and that made me feel a lot better about it.
Now the first thing you're going to hate about visiting Beijing is, guys, that's not mist behind me. All that fuzzy stuff you see, that's smog. And the air pollution here can be horrible. There's actually times you actually can't even go outside, or you're not supposed to go outside. Our first 2 days here, they said no children and old people. So I guess that means me and the kids couldn't go out. But it is bad. It can get very bad. Now, not every day's bad. We've had a couple days where it's nice blue skies, but just be prepared and bring some masks with you from the US or from Europe where you're going to go, because it's a lot cheaper there and you get a better quality mask that'll get the fine particles. So that's the first thing you're going to hate, though, is the smog and the air pollution. The second thing you're not going to like about coming to Beijing is, guys, this place is huge. There's people everywhere. And if you're on the metro, they're coming in when you're going out, and they're getting smushed everywhere, and there's people all the time, because there really is 25 million people living here. And just get used to it. You're going to have that claustrophobic feel. So when you're going to the Forbidden City behind me, you're going to have people with their umbrellas. They're going to be bashing you in the head. When you go to the Great Wall of China, it's more like the Great Wall of people. So just be prepared for that when you are here in Beijing, because there is so many people here that no matter what you do, where you go, you're going to have people all over the place. The third thing you're not going to like about coming to Beijing is your lack of Chinese. Guys, people in China, there's not a lot of people in Beijing that speak English, even at the hotels. No matter what the guidebooks say that, oh yes, your hotel will speak English and they'll be able to write things down for you, that's not always the case, okay? So be prepared, and you need to learn some Chinese when you're here, and make sure you learn some characters for like bathroom and stuff like that, because you may know some pinyin, which is like writing it in Latin letters, writing Chinese in Latin letters, but people won't get that, okay? Especially taxi drivers. So just know that the problem with English, Chinese kind of stuff, you are going to have a tough time. So be prepared for a lot of pointing and saying, yes please, xie xie, which is thank you, okay? And bu yao, you need bu yao, that's I don't want, all right? The fourth thing you're not going to like about Beijing is the traffic and the taxis. The traffic here is crazy, and trying to figure out how to cross the street, really just wait for a group of Chinese people and go in the middle of them and cross with them. They'll know, because cars will be coming from all directions, bikes, rickshaws, all kinds of stuff. Even if it's a one-way street, they might be coming the other way. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, sorry.
My dad got in trouble by the police from filming.
So I had a little issue with the police on the other side of Tiananmen Square. That's Mao Zedong's mausoleum behind me here on Tiananmen Square. And the fourth thing you're not going to like about when you come to Beijing is the fact that the traffic and the taxis can be a little bit horrible. And the traffic, it moves, but the thing is crossing the traffic can be very dangerous. So make sure you take the overpasses if you can. But if you have to cross the street, make sure you're watching all the time, both directions. Buses go everywhere. Cars go everywhere. Buses, bikes, rickshaws, all kinds of stuff. So just kind of get in the middle of a pack of Chinese people and then cross with them, because they know. And the taxis, because the taxi drivers don't have to take you where you want to go. They don't have to take you at all. And a lot of them don't speak any English, and a lot of them don't even know the city very well. So we've moved to the Beihai Park, just outside the Forbidden City. A little bit easier place to film, a little bit quieter, a little less police giving me a hard time. Anyway, so let's keep going. So the fifth thing you're not going to like about coming to Beijing is your guidebook. Guys, I'll be honest with you, the guidebooks, Beijing is changing so fast that the museums are moving, metro lines are getting extended, rail stations are moving, all kinds of stuff, and your guidebook, even if you have the newest one out there, is going to disappoint you. For example, we came to Beihai Park. There's actually a Beihai North Station, and it wasn't even on our books, and we bought it literally, it's June. No, it's July now. We bought our book in May to come here. It's the newest one out there. They didn't even have that line on there, okay? The extension on there, and the number 9's not even in there. So you're going to see all these things in your guidebooks are going to be wrong because there's so many changes going on. Also, another thing you're not going to like about your guidebook, they keep saying, oh, have your hotel write things down in Mandarin for you, and then the taxi drivers will find the place. They won't, because one, your hotel is not going to speak that much English, and two, the taxi drivers aren't going to understand anyway, because they're usually not from Beijing, so they don't know the area that well. So those are the 5 things you're not going to like about coming to Beijing. But what are the things you're going to actually love about coming to Beijing? Because obviously the trees seem to love me here today, so we have that. So those are things you're gonna hate about visiting Beijing, but I'll be honest guys, Beijing is a really cool city. Even it is huge and the people are bumping you all over. There's all kinds of great stuff here. So let's get through the 5 things you're gonna love. The first thing you're gonna love, and usually I put this in with the site stuff, but guys, going to the Great Wall here in Beijing, let's go a little bit out of town. It is one of the most important things for you to do when you travel the world. And honestly, it is the coolest thing you're gonna do in Beijing and probably the coolest thing you're gonna do in China, even better than the Terracotta Warriors. It is fantastic. You know, started 2,200 years ago. Well, actually parts of walls were already there for that time, but the Great Wall is something that, yes, it gets packed with tourists, and yes, you know, it is hot in the summer when you're there, but going there, the experience, seeing the mountains and the wall going around there is just fantastic. So that's the first thing you're gonna love, is going to see the wall. Second thing you're gonna love about Beijing are the fantastic sights. Guys, you got the Beihai Park here you can go chill out in. You've got the Forbidden City, you've got the Summer Palace, you've got the Temple of Heaven, like the Hutongs. You have so much great stuff to see here in Beijing that I can't, I mean, I have a top 10 list, but it should be like a top 50 because there's so much great stuff here. And that's the second thing you're gonna love, all the great sites that are here in Beijing. The third thing you're gonna love about Beijing is eating here. Guys, they have Chinese food from all over China. It's fantastic. If you wanna have your Xi'an, you know, lamb soup, they have that here. If you wanna have, you know, your typical Chinese food you're used to in America, they have that here. You have Brazilian food, they have all kinds of stuff here. You eat on the streets, in the markets, in the restaurants, it's fantastic. And it's not just the eating that's great in Beijing. Of course, you have the Peking duck you have to have here, but it's also going out. They have great nightlife here for bars, clubs, stuff like that, for Western taste, Eastern taste, whatever. Theater, opera, all kinds of great stuff for you to do when you are here. The fourth thing you're gonna love about coming to Beijing is actually the city is pretty green. There's parks you can go to, like here in Beihai Park, or the bamboo gardens, or the bamboo parks. There's all kinds of green stuff, trees everywhere. And yes, there is tons of pollution, but there's green spaces you could go to. And when you go here, you can really relax. You can take a boat out here in the park here, or you can watch the people do Tai Chi, but it's really relaxing. And you can really enjoy Beijing and get away from the huge hustle and bustle of the city and get this nice quiet time that you don't really get in Beijing. So it's really cool, the green spaces, and just going out and enjoying the people around here doing their Tai Chi. And the fifth thing you're gonna love about coming to Beijing is it's safe. Guys, it's a 25 million person city, and it is safe. You can walk around with money hanging out of your pockets. They're gonna, hey, your money's sticking out. Don't, just be careful. I mean, it's a super safe city, and the people in the city, I mean, when they get big groups of people, it's not so much fun, but one-on-one, people in Beijing are fantastic. They're nice, they're helpful. Even if they don't speak English, they're going to try to help you, and you're going to love it here. And I love Beijing. It is a great city. So, you know, Wu I Beijing, I love Beijing. You should learn that because it is a fantastic city, okay?
So, what are the things you're not going to like about coming to Shanghai? Now, the first thing is, if you've been traveling in China, you realize that it is a very affordable place to travel around, to stay, to eat, and things like that. Well, Shanghai is the most expensive city on the mainland. So if you're looking at hotels, you're going to be spending more. The deposits at the hotel are going to go up too. Okay, the restaurants, your bang for your buck won't go as far. Now, having said that, it still is a lot cheaper than traveling to Hong Kong or going to, let's say, Singapore, or going to Europe or the US or even Australia. I mean, it is cheaper than that, but it is more expensive than the mainland. So if you're used to, you know, you're having your budget set by your time in Xi'an and stuff, it's not going to work here. So that's the first thing you're not going to like, is more expensive than the rest of China. The second thing you're not going to like is there's not a lot of old China here. Now, if you're coming to Shanghai for the weekend and you're expecting to see the river towns and feel like you're in Kung Fu Panda or something, you're not going to have that in Shanghai because it is a very modern city. I mean, the city has completely changed in the last 20 years, and I'll try to get you some pictures to show what, you know, the skyscraper part looked like just 20 years ago, okay? But having said that, there are some places outside of town you can go to, but if you're going to the old part of town, it looks like it's kind of like almost like a strip mall. There are some nice things to see that are kind of older, like the Yuan Gardens and stuff like that, but in general, you're not coming here for that old world, old China feel. You come here for the modern feel, and that kind of sucks. It's like, you know, you want to see the old world China kind of stuff, but it's not here, okay? The third thing you're not going to like about Shanghai is, guys, this is our 6th week in China, and I've never felt like I had to, you know, hold my wallet or check my bags and stuff like that. Here in Shanghai, I definitely feel less safe. I mean, I still feel safer than anywhere in the US, but I feel less safe than anywhere else in China. And you do have more pickpockets, you do have more beggars, you do have more people coming up to you saying, hey, taxi, taxi, you know, at the train station when you come in, the high-speed train, which is by one of the airports, you got people grabbing you, say, hey, we have a taxi, come on, come on. You're like, no, I want to get in the taxi line. I mean, you do feel a little bit less safe here than you do in other parts of China, so do be careful because there are more pickpockets. There are more, you know, little robberies here. I mean, there's still no, like, bad crimes, but still, just be careful of it because that's one thing you're not going to like. It is a little bit less safe than the rest of China, and you will notice that and you will have that feel. The fourth thing you're not going to like about coming to Shanghai is a lot of the things, you know, it happens to be in my 511 Hates of China video. You know, people are spitting on the streets. You know, when you go into the elevator or the metro, people are coming in when you're going out. You're getting smushed all the time, things like that. And it can be a bit much, so get ready for being claustrophobic, bumped around, all kinds of things like that. So you might think, well, they're kind of rude. And the people aren't quite, I don't think they're as nice as you have like in Beijing or Xi'an, definitely not as Xi'an. But so just be prepared for some of these things like the spitting and the crowds and all kinds of stuff like that. And the fifth thing you're not going to like is, guys, this is a tropical climate and it gets very, very hot, especially in the summer. You're going to have 40 degrees or 105 degrees during the day. Yesterday, I literally looked like I was in the swimming pool. My wife, who never sweats, she sweated twice in all of our trips. Today was the second time, and I even said, oh my God, you're sweating. So be prepared for the heat. So if you're going to do your sightseeing, do things in the morning. Guys, it's 6:30 in the morning, and I'm already sweating. I know I'm a big guy, but it's hot already at 6:30 in the morning, okay? So be prepared for the heat. So bring your water around, okay? Take that with you. Don't be afraid to pay the extra money to get water when you're going through the shopping malls and stuff like that. Just be prepared for it, okay? So just know, the heat is one of the things you're really not going to like. But those are the 5 things you're not going to like about Shanghai, and those are things you can deal with. I mean, it is a really cool city, and you really should come. So what are the things you're going to love about Shanghai? So now we have the 5 things you're going to love about coming to Shanghai, and I'll be honest, guys, this is a great city. You will have a really nice time here. You're going to have a lot of fun. There's all kinds of cool stuff to do. It's just more of a modern things to do. Now, let's get started. And the first thing you're going to love is seeing the city at night, especially when you see this here all lit up, you know, the Citibank building and the Oriental Pearl Tower and the World Financial Center. I mean, it is so cool to see it at night with all the lights and everything. You really feel like, wow, it's a neon paradise. And if you can take a boat tour while you do that, it is extremely cool. Take an evening boat tour, you're going up and down the river, seeing all the lights and stuff like that. It's probably the coolest thing to do here in Shanghai, and you really have to do it, okay? So that's the first thing. Enjoying the lights of the city at night and taking a boat cruise, okay? That is so cool. The second thing you're going to love about coming to Shanghai is going to the French concession area. Now, Europeans kind of dominated Shanghai for quite a period of time, and they left an impression here. So architecture, food, stuff like that. And the French concession area is where you see that the most. So the architecture, the shops, the boutiques, the restaurants, you do feel like, oh, you're going in some back lanes in Paris or Berlin or something like that. And it is kind of cool because it gives a really kind of international feel to it. But it is really a nice place to go. And honestly, that's one of the favorite things my mom loved. And I know I'm not telling you to go because my mom went there, but she was right. It is a really cool place. Great place to go shopping. If you're tired of Chinese food because you've been traveling a long time, you don't have good Western food, you go to that area there. It's really cool. So that's the second thing you're going to love. Going to the French concession area and just enjoying all the stuff there. The architecture, the food, the shopping, all kinds of stuff. The third thing you're going to love about Shanghai is it is an international city. You know, there's the architecture. I mean, you can see all kinds of cool international architecture here. There's all kinds of expats here. There's all kinds of travelers here. A lot of Westerners, Easterners, a big influence of stuff. And that's one of the things I love about port cities like this is you have all this mix. It has a very international vibe. So that means the restaurants, hey, you know what? They speak English a lot more, and so do the hotels. You won't be gawked at like you are in other parts of China. We go to Beijing, Xi'an, Tianjin, all kinds of other places. My kids, literally, we spend an hour taking pictures with people. Here, no one asks to take our kids' picture because they see all kinds of Westerners all the time. So you do blend in better. So I think you have a better chance of feeling more like a local here than anywhere else in China. But this international feel of the city is really cool. And yes, there's the French concession, like I said before, but there's all kinds of other stuff on here. The Boon behind me has all kinds of great architecture to enjoy and all kinds of nice stuff. The fourth thing you're going to love about coming to Shanghai is the food. Now, Chinese food overall, I mean, it's different everywhere you go, and the food here is different too, but I think it's even better. I mean, this has been the best Chinese food, except for the lamb soup in Xi'an. This has been the best food in general I've had anywhere in China. But when you come here, you want to have the dim sum, the dumplings, because that's what's kind of a specialty of here. And there's one you have to have. You'll see a picture of it. It's a big dumpling, and they have a straw sticking in it. Well, the thing is, there's kind of soup inside, so you stick the straw in. Don't go too far, because if you pop the bottom, your pants are going to get full of soup, like my son unfortunately found out. Okay, so you have the straw in there. You suck out the soup inside, and then you eat the dumpling. It is so good. That is one thing you have to have when you're here. And the food is fantastic in Shanghai. You will enjoy it. Yes, it's more pricey than other places, but you know what? It's worth it because it's so much better, okay? So that's the fourth thing you're going to love is the food. And the fifth thing you're going to love about Shanghai is, you know, I said, you know, you're not going to like that you can't get all this old China feel. Well, you can outside of the city. There's some amazing day trips. That's number 5. The amazing day trips from here, okay? You can go to Suzhou and see all the gardens there and the canals. You know, you can take a gondola there. It's a lot cheaper. It's not as cool as going in Venice, but it's a lot cheaper to take the gondola there, see those things there, walk around. You go to Hangzhou and you can see the people dancing on water there. And you can do one of my favorite ones is going to Xi'an, which is kind of like this old river town. Like you imagine Kung Fu Panda in real, like the town in Kung Fu Panda in real life. That's kind of like what it is. Your hotels can arrange a lot of these day trips for you. It's well worth going to, but there are really great day trips because if you're tired of seeing skyscrapers and seeing all these things, you want to see real old-fashioned China, you want to do the day trips from here. Suzhou, Hangzhou, and my favorite Xi'an are fantastic.
So we're outside of Pit 1. That's inside where you just saw me with the Terracotta Warriors. It was a bit hot and crowded there, so we moved outside. Now, so what are the 5 things you're going to hate about coming to Xi'an and seeing the Terracotta Warriors? Well, the first thing you're not going to like is, guys, this place is packed of tourists, especially in the summer holidays. It is crazy. So you're going to get shoved, you're going to get bumped. It's going to be hard to get those family pictures or just a picture with you with the Terracotta Warriors. But know that if you wait, especially at lunchtime, it really kind of clears out. Like now we're at lunchtime, so there's not too many people. So make sure you come at that time so you can get in and see the stuff and really, kind of not worry about the huge crowds. But just know that's the first thing you're not going to like, is there is a huge crowds that come here because this is one of the 8 wonders of the world and it is awesome here, okay? But you will have to deal with the huge crowds when you come in. Now, the second thing you're not going to like when you come here is there are a lot of, kind of people selling stuff at the gates and stuff like that. So you're going to have to deal with the aggressive sellers out there. It's like, come on, buy this, buy this. And, you think they wouldn't know Chinese when you say buyao, which means I don't want or I don't need. But there's still a lot of them out there. So just be prepared for that when you do leave here because it can be a little unnerving. But don't worry, they'll shove stuff in your hand and things like that, just like at all the other major sites in China. But just be prepared for it because here it seems to be a little extra special and a little extra aggressive, okay? The third thing you're not going to like about coming to Xi'an is basically the taxi. Now, that's kind of a China-wide thing. The taxis seem to be the white knuckle, oh my god, I'm going to die kind of things. But here when we got in our taxi and the train, the north station that you come into if you take the high-speed train, he's like, oh no, you don't need a seatbelt. It's like the entire way I'm like, oh my god, I'm holding on to his cage so I don't die, my kids are in the back. Of course, there's no seatbelts to lock them in, so they're like, oh, we're all going to die, but at least we'll die together. So that heart-stopping racing through town, because there's a lot of urban sprawl here. I mean, there's 8 million people in Xi'an, so there's a lot of, you have to go a far ways if you're coming from the airport or the north train station where you come into town on the high-speed train. It will take you some time to get to town, so be prepared for being scared to death in the taxis on the way in. The fourth thing you're not going to like about Xi'an is, guys, the city, I mean, it's a huge city. It's grown so much, so fast, and in such a recent past that it's a lot of urban sprawl out here. So when you're looking at the sites, you'll have, the Neolithic, they'll take you to the Neolithic village that's here, and literally next door, there's high-rises going up next to it. If you go see the bell tower, literally the cross-section of the city walls, in the middle of the city walls, the bell tower, if you look, one corner has Starbucks and McDonald's, the other one has Starbucks and Haagen-Dazs, another one has KFC. So you have a lot of the urban encroachment onto the historic parts. Luckily, you can go to the Muslim quarter and you have a nice, old world feel to it. But just be prepared for there's a lot of urbanization. So with that, there's the pollution, the ever-present smog and stuff like that that you do have to deal with. And the fifth thing you're not going to like is coming out to the Terracotta Warriors, because getting out here, you're going to have to hire a driver and most likely hire a guide. And your hotel, a lot of hotels will arrange it for you, but it's usually going to be much more expensive that way. So sometimes you can hire a driver and then you can get a guide here, but then it's hit and miss, okay? But just getting out here can be a pain because it is about 45 minutes outside of town. So if you're taking the public transport, it can take you an hour on the bus to get out here. So just prepare for that. But those are 5 little things. I mean, there's other things you might not like, but those are typical things you might not like in China. So watch our 5 things you love and hate about China video for those. But what are things you're going to love about here in Xi'an? And guys, Xi'an is cool. I really enjoy Xi'an. I've enjoyed it better than Beijing or some of the other places we've gone. And the first thing you're going to love about here is, of course, the Terracotta Warriors. Guys, 2,200 years ago, 2,300 years ago, the first Qin emperor, he had all this made for here, guys. I mean, they only found them in 1974. You can actually get your picture taken with the farmer that actually found them. He's been taken care of, don't worry. And but you come here and literally it's from 2,300 years ago. The first Qin emperor, he had this all built for him to protect him in the afterlife. So there's 8,000 soldiers they found. They had to rebuild all of them. They've rebuilt 2,000 of them so far, and they're still rebuilding. And this is an active site, and you can see them working, especially at night. They work on the stuff here. Also, he buried 3,000 concubines alive with him, because in the afterlife, I guess you need living, soon to be buried alive concubines.
Anyway, but there's all kinds of great stuff here to see in terms of the warriors and all these kind of things. And it is even cooler than what you think you're going to see. Like you come in and you have this wow moment when you first walk into pit 1 and you see all the warriors and you're like, oh, and you don't mind the huge crowd that's trying to take pictures there because you're so in awe of seeing it for the first time. And it is fantastic. That's the first thing you're going to love about coming here, is seeing the terracotta warriors. Now the second thing you're going to love about here is eating here. And the one thing you have to eat is lamb soup. You have to find one of the places that sell it. They sell it all over. Our favorite place to go, I'll show a picture here so you can see where it is. It's lamb, it's broth with lamb in it and noodles. But what you do is you get these buns and you tear up the buns really, really small. You want to have it really small. You put it in a bowl, you take the bowl back, they fill it up with the lamb and the broth and the noodles and everything, and it is fantastic. Seriously, I've traveled the world. You guys have seen my videos, and it's probably one of the top 3 to 5 foods I've ever had in the world. It is that good. And it's not just the lamb soup. There's tons of lamb stuff around here because you have a lot of Muslim influence in the city, and you have a lot more variation in the food of the people, and it is really a cool thing to do. So that's the second thing you're going to love, is the food, and especially the lamb soup. Now, going on with that Muslim influence, the third thing you're going to love about coming here is walking the market streets, or walking the Muslim quarter with all the shops and all the restaurants and you know, people cooking on the streets and selling things on the streets, and you really feel like you've gone back in time. You really feel like you're getting a true, you know, Chinese experience when you're here, but it's from all over, and it is such a cool part of town to go to. Every day we've been here, we go back to the market streets, we go back to the Muslim quarter to see it, you know, see the mosque, see the drum bells, see the bell towers, you know, these kind of the drum tower, all these things. It's just so cool, okay? So definitely check out the Muslim quarter when you're here. The fourth thing you're gonna love about coming to Xi'an is you get to go on the city walls. Now, city walls are enormous, and you can go up to the top and actually ride bikes around. You can take a picnic up there. There's rickshaw guys that'll drive you around. I mean, it is a huge wall you can go up to. You go through the south gate, go up, and then just go around, and it is super cool to check out. And it's kind of like an oasis from all the hubbub and hecticness of this large city, and it is just a really cool thing. So you definitely have to do that. So definitely get up on the wall, rent the bike, and ride around. And the fifth thing you're going to love about Xi'an are the people. You know, I've found Chinese people to be really, really friendly everywhere we've gone, but Xi'an seem to have the most friendly people in China. Everyone's been so helpful, so kind. People are speaking English a lot more here on average than I saw in Beijing or Shanghai. And not just that, but everything about them, they're trying to be helpful. They're not ripping you off as much in the bargaining, so the prices start lower, let's say. But I mean, where we had our lamb soup, the lady says, "Hey, if you're here, you're home." You know, and she meant it. And we went to the tea shop. I mean, we bought like a little cup of tea, like a little teacup, and the guy sat there and drank tea with us for over half an hour. And the only reason we left because we had to meet our friends. We could have stayed forever because the people are so friendly. Oh, the people really are fantastic here. They are so friendly, and you're really gonna love that about coming to Xi'an, because it is even more friendly than everywhere else in China. I really loved it, and that's one reason I definitely come back here. And also, of course, the terracotta warriors. Now, the first thing you should know is don't drink the water, okay? Ice and tap water, not good for you, okay? When you go to restaurants, what they'll do is actually bring you boiled water, still hot, and that's kind of what you drink to start off your meal, okay? But do not drink the tap water or the cold water, okay? Unless it's bottled water or the boiled water they give you at the restaurant at the very beginning, okay? The second thing you should know is you don't tip in China. The only people you tip are probably your tour guides and the drivers for your tour buses and stuff. Otherwise, there's no tipping. I mean, in the taxis and the restaurants, people actually were giving our money back to us. So you don't need to do the tipping, so that's one thing that I like to know beforehand. The third thing to know is when you take taxis, and you will take taxis around Beijing, Shanghai, around China, they are very cheap, but make sure you take metered taxis, official taxis, because if you take what are called the black cabs, the black taxis, you could get in trouble. They could, you know, take you for a ride to places you don't want to go, so make sure you take metered taxis. The fourth thing you should know is when you come to China, sometimes you're not sure, oh, is there a different time zone? Because it's bigger than the US, and in the US we have 4 time zones in the continental US. In China, there's only one time zone, the Beijing time zone. So you don't have to worry about that. It's the same time everywhere. So whether you're flying or taking the train or whatever, it's always the same time, okay? The fifth thing you should know before you come is the plugs. Now, I was trying to figure out what plugs to bring. Do I have European plugs, US plugs? Well, Chinese plugs are actually an upside down V, but in pretty much all the hotels, you're gonna have a plug on the top of that V that'll work with US plugs and European plugs. So you are okay with that. You don't need to bring a converter unless you're going into, you know, some villages and you might need one, but most of your hotels will have have the plug for US or European hotels. The sixth thing you should know is the air pollution. Guys, here in Beijing and Shanghai, the pollution can be so bad they literally say women and children, children and old people do not go outside. It can be very bad, and I do recommend you buy a really good mask. Not just the cheap face mask that you get, but get a really good one. Spend the money. We did, and it makes a big difference, especially if you have like asthma or any kind of breathing problems. It's going to be a big problem here with the air pollution, so stay informed about that and keep track. And I know in Beijing, the U.S. Embassy actually has a little thing that says, hey, is it safe to go outside to breathe the air or not, okay? The seventh thing you should know is cash is king here in China. There's ATMs in Beijing, Shanghai. All the big cities have ATMs, but people prefer if you pay with cash. And when you go into the villages and the smaller places, sometimes it's hard to find those ATMs. I mean, you can find an ICBC maybe, but just know that you need to carry a lot of cash around. Yuan is the currency here. You're going to use it all over the place, and try to get small denominations, because when you go to the ATM, they're going to give you hundreds. But the thing is, if you go get a soda, it's 3 yuan, which is 3 tiny bills. So try to get smaller denominations to make your life a little bit easier. The eighth thing you need to know is there's very little English spoke here. I get kind of upset with all the the guidebooks and all kinds of stuff. They say, oh, well, have your hotel write down the name of the place you're going to go, and then give it to the taxi driver. The thing is, guys, not all the hotels do have people that do speak English, so that can be an issue. So do learn a little Chinese before you come. We do have a few videos from here in China about learning some basic Chinese, but that will be a little difficulty for you. So you really need to know that just because your hotel says there's somebody that speaks English doesn't mean they're going to be there all the time. And English is not spoken everywhere, so the menus and stuff like that, it can be kind of an adventure going out to eat, okay? Number 9 on our list, if you're thinking of going to Hong Kong from the mainland, guys, you need to get a double entry visa, because when you leave mainland China and go into Hong Kong, you actually go through customs and all kinds of stuff, and then you'll be coming back into China. So you need to get a double entry visa or a multiple entry visa if you're going to be coming from the mainland to Hong Kong. It's very simple. When you apply for your visa, hey, just put you want to go multiple times, they give it to you, no problem, okay? The 10th thing you should know, there are a few taboos here in China. You don't talk about Tiananmen Square, you don't talk about Tibet, you don't talk about human rights or internet censorship. China feels that, hey, these are Chinese issues, so we'll deal with it. We don't tell you how to do your business, so don't tell us how to do ours. So do not talk about those things. It'll make your conversations a lot more smooth when you are here. Number 11 on our list is bargaining. Guys, the price that people tell you first, if you want to get your hats and stuff like that when you're here, the first price people tell you, realize that's not the end price. You're going to be doing at least 50% of what they actually initially start. That's what you should end up paying. But just know that bargaining is all the time, and it can get annoying, because for everything you do, you're going to be bargaining. Unless you go to a supermarket or a mall, or the restaurants, those prices are pretty fixed. But a lot of times in the markets and stuff like that, for your hats, you will be bargaining for that. And now Caleb's here to help me with number 12. And the 12th thing you should know, and this is the most important one, are the toilets. Now, Caleb, how are the toilets here? Bad. Because they're a hole in the ground. So get used to squatting. Also, toilet paper does not come in the stall. And pee on the floor, that happens too. But the toilet paper is not in the stall. It'll be out on the wall, or it won't be there at all. So make sure you walk around with some kind of like Kleenex packets and stuff like that for your own kind of toilet paper. Also, when you go into the toilets, usually they're a step up or a step down, something like that. So a lot of times you'll see people tripping over them when they go in, so be careful with that. So those are kind of 12 things that I wish I would have known before I came to China, and that really will help you have a better idea of what to expect when you get here. Here are our top 10 places to go. Now, first, Beijing probably has the most sights to see in a condensed area than anywhere in the country, and it is so cool. So of course you have to go to the Great Wall while you're here. You can do some really good stops on that here. You go to the Forbidden City, the oldest imperial palace in the world. It's still around. You've got the Temple of Heaven that's here. You've got the Summer Palace. There's all kinds of fantastic stuff to see here in Beijing. So you definitely need to make this either your first stop or last stop in China, because it is so cool with so many great things to see. Now, number 2 on our list is my personal favorite place to go here in China, and that's Xi'an. If you go there, you have the terracotta warriors. You've seen them. This is where they really are. You can actually go and see them, take pictures, be with them, all kinds of stuff. It is cooler than it seems like in the guidebooks. I mean, it seems really cool in the guidebooks, but it's even cooler when you go there. And the city has lots to offer, has the best food. The lamb stew there is fantastic, okay? And also you can go see the drum tower and the bell tower and the Muslim quarter. Walking around there is a really cool experience, kind of the market town and all kinds of stuff like that. But Xi'an's my favorite, so that's number 2. Number 3 on our list is Shanghai. This is more, if you want to see the last 20 or 30 years of Chinese history, how the city has really grown incredibly with amazing skyscrapers, very distinct skyline. The Shanghai Museum's really cool. Shanghai is a cool place to go. And if you're kind of tired of seeing Eastern stuff, you want to have a Western experience, Shanghai is the place to be, okay? Now, the 4th place to go is Hong Kong, okay? The two systems kind of thing still does work, and you go to Hong Kong, it's like the most densely populated place in the world, but it is so cool. I mean, imagine China with good manners, and if you come to China, you understand what I mean. But Hong Kong, whether you're going to, stroll Victoria Harbor, see some of the great museums, the incredible skylines, go to Victoria Peak, the temples that are there, there's so many cool things to see in Hong Kong. That's why it's number 4 on our list. Number 5, if you're getting tired of the big, huge cities, because you do have that, you want kind of a smaller city and see some really cool stuff, I recommend going to Pingyao, which is this amazing, walled town you can go to. It's got a little bit of a smog issue, but it is a really cool place to go if you want to have kind of a smaller town experience when you're in China. And I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, everyone recommends that I go there. So that's number 5 on our list. Number 6 on our list is taking a river cruise on the Yangtze River. Now, I know if you're taking one of these package tour things, they always have you go on those, but it is well worth it. And not just seeing the 3 gorges down, but seeing but going to see the gorges and the peaks and the cliffs when you go through. I mean, it is kind of an otherworldly experience. You feel like you've gone back in time, and it is very cool, and I do recommend you do one of those. Even though it is kind of touristy, it is well worth it. Now, number 7 on our list is Huangshan, or maybe you know it better as the Yellow Mountains. And this is basically, if you've ever been to any Chinese restaurant, you see these fabulous paintings of mountains and cliffs and misty locations, and watching Kung Fu Panda and see all these typical beautiful Chinese scenery. That's the place they go. It is just gorgeous there. So that's number 7 on our list, going to the Yellow Mountains. Number 8 on our list is going to Yunnan. And this is the one thing, whenever I ask my Chinese students, where should I go to have a good environment, good feelings and all kinds of stuff, they say you got to go to Yunnan. Because it's kind of a region in the south, and in there you have Shangri-La. And I don't mean Shangri-La like the idea of this perfect place, I mean the actual Shangri-La. You have the snow-capped mountains, beautiful lakes, pagodas all over the place, and it is just fabulous. And it's kind of the best place to go if you want to have clean air, 1, and 2, to have a relaxing kind of back to nature kind of vacation. Super cool place, definitely worth going to see. Number 9 on our list, if you want to go to some beach towns, there are some beach places you can go to. Dalian's kind of a clean, put together town in the very north on the coast. If you want Qinhuangdao, that's where the Great Wall goes into the ocean. So literally it's they call it the dragon's head, because the dragon, the wall goes in 20-30 meters into the water. Very cool place to check out, well worth it. It's a 2-hour train ride from Beijing, well worth the trip. Then you have Chengdu, which is another really good beach town to go to. And so it is pretty of a cool place. So if you're getting tired of the big city stuff and you want to go to the coast, you can do that here too. And number 10 on the list is Yangshuo. And this is basically a nice town. If you want to go biking, you can go bike from there to the Moon Hills. And it's just kind of a really cool atmosphere. You can go see the caves that are there, all kinds of fabulous stuff. But guys, I got to tell you, there's so many great places to visit in China. This top 10 list needs to be a lot bigger. Now, the first thing you got to do is you got to get out of town and you got to go to the Great Wall. Guys, I'll be honest, seeing the Great Wall was probably the coolest experience, seeing a tourist site experience I've had in all of my travels. It is that awesome to go to. And I'll tell you, it is a lot of work hiking up there, so if you can't walk very well, be very careful. There's a few places you can go to on the wall here in Beijing or near Beijing. One does have a funicular that'll take you up, or a cable car that'll take you up. That one can be very packed. So if you're going to take a tour, ask them which one you're going to go to, which one's better. But guys, the views, and it's not just the wall that's so cool, the setting as it goes through the mountains. I mean, guys, it is really you walk up there and you're like, wow, it is that cool. So that's the first thing you have to do when you come here, is go see the Great Wall. The second thing you got to do when you're here is go see the Forbidden City. This is the Imperial Palace where the Emperor stayed, and it's called the Forbidden City because unless you were part of the court, you couldn't go inside. And you can see the palaces and the bedrooms and all these things. Now, you can't go into the rooms, but you can look at them from the outside, so be careful, be ready to fight your way through to see it. It is an amazing thing. Now, it gets really packed there, but only in the central corridor kind of thing, central courtyards. If you literally walk 10 meters to your right, right or left. There's plenty of room to really take it all in because it is really a fantastic thing to do. That's the second thing you have to do when you're here. Now the third thing you want to do when you come to Beijing is check out Tiananmen Square. Now this has all the pomp and circumstance of the Communist Party and stuff like that. You can see Mao's tomb is there. There's the China National Museum, which is kind of cool to check out. But just go in there and people watching and stuff, it's really kind of a cool thing to do. Get your picture next to Mao in the background where they founded the Chinese Communist Party, where they founded the People's Republic of China, all kinds of stuff. Now, the fourth thing you want to do when you go here is you want to go to the northwest of the city and go to the Summer Palace. This obviously was the Summer Palace of the emperors. Very cool, man-made lake, man-made hill. It's all part of the kind of feng shui kind of thing. You go there, you have the pagodas, you have the walks, this kind of, I don't know, really relaxing feel. And you can understand why the emperor went there in the summer because it is a beautiful place to go. Now the fifth place you want to go, again, going to the emperor, he really had it good. You have the Temple of Heaven. Now this is a temple that was only used once a year, kind of like a good harvest kind of thing. So the emperor came once. So this huge park complex you can go to, really nice and relaxing, watch people doing their Tai Chi and all kinds of stuff. Pay the extra fee to go up into the actual temple and walk around. And they have this one place where you can go, it's like an echo corridor. You stand in the middle of where the emperor would speak and you would hear yourself reverberate back on yourself, so you feel like your really powerful voice. So that's kind of a cool thing to check out when you're there. The sixth thing you want to do when you come here is go to the Lama Temple. And the Lama Temple, it's like a 20-meter tall gold Buddha in there. It's really cool with all the monks and everything like that. So if you want to get a temple complex in, that's one I definitely recommend. And what's cool, right by there, you have Ghost Street. And at night, that's a great place to go eat, like hot pot or barbecue. Some really great food on Ghost Street, well worth checking out. Now, the seventh place to check out is the Beihai Park. This is the Imperial Gardens that were by the Forbidden City. You have to pay a small fee to go in, but you go in there, and it's kind of like here, you know. You can take the boat rides, you can get a little ride around in your own little boat kind of stuff with the family. You can have all kinds of nice stuff there. There's a huge, basically it's a huge wall with 9 dragons on it. Like, it's actually hundreds of dragons, but it's 9 main dragons. There's some really cool stuff to see there. A few temples. You go on the island there to see those things. And it's a really kind of fantastic place. Nice hideaway if you're in the very center of town. Because I like the Bamboo Park is where it's by where I live. But in the center of town, Beihai Park's a really nice place to check out. Now, number 8 on our list is going to visit some of the markets. Now, it's the Yashu market to go just clothes shopping and haggle, because some people love to bargain, and you're going to have to bargain here. That's how it works, okay? You're going to have that, or you can go to the tons of malls or the night markets, or you want to go Wangfungjin, the shopping street there. I mean, there's so many cool markets around town. Definitely check some of those out. Also, number 9 on the list, you go out to the Ming tombs. Now, there's 13 tombs. Most likely you're going on a tour that'll take you to 1 or 2, and you see where they are. Now, the tombs here is there's like a kind of a praying area beforehand, but then there's a huge dirt mound because they built the tombs inside the mound so they couldn't find where the emperors were buried. But it's kind of a cool experience to go to. We checked out the ones here by Beijing. Very nice. Okay, and then the 10th thing you want to do is visit the hutongs. See how the people live where there is no running water and stuff like that. It is kind of a really interesting experience. Great food there. That's, take your rickshaw ride there. All kinds of great stuff. The top 10 sites for you to see when you are here in Xi'an. And of course, number 1 is the Terracotta Warriors. Guys, you go out there, it's about a 45-minute drive out of the center. Xi'an's a really big city, actually. It's like 7 or 8 million, so the size of Chicago, just to give you an idea. So it is out of town. You got to drive out there, but when you go there, 2,200 years ago, the emperor had a army built for him. Each face is different with 8,000 different soldiers. And you go there, the horses are there. The emperor is actually under a thing of mercury, so you can't see him. They haven't figured out a way to actually excavate him yet, but you go there and it is fantastic. You walk in and when you first see him, it's like, oh my God, it's even better than National Geographic. It's better than what I saw on TV. It is totally awesome. So that's the first thing you gotta do, is go see the Terracotta Warriors. The second thing you wanna do is eat. Guys, I gotta tell you, in my 511 hates for Xi'an, one of the things you're going to love is the variety of food. And when you come here, the one thing you really have to eat is the lamb soup. It is fantastic. You take these little buns, you rip them up, and you put them in the bowl, and then they put the broth and the noodles and the lamb. It is fantastic. You have to eat that when you're here. So that's the second thing that you got to do. And also with that, there's actually a lot of Muslim influence in this city, which leads us to number 3, and that's wandering around the market or the Muslim quarter. You go through there, they have all the shops, and there's all the restaurants and all these great things. Eating on the street, and of course eating the lamb soup and all the lamb, the kebabs and everything. And it's really cool because the city's actually got a lot of urban sprawl, but when you go to the Muslim district, and it's actually behind me here, this is the drum tower behind me actually. You walk out that way, you start walking through, seeing all the shops, seeing all these things. It is really cool, and it like takes you back in time. But you really don't, when you're in there, you don't feel like you're in the city of 8 million. You feel like you're in a small town, and it is really cool. Great place to eat, great place to shop, and great place to explore. And that leads us to the fourth thing you should see when you're here is the Great Mosque, because it is the Muslim district. So you see the mosque, the Great Mosque that's there. And then if you look at number 5, I want to combine a couple things. You have the drum tower behind me, and you actually see the big drum there. And there's the bell tower behind me over there, or in front of me or behind you. And what you have is, when you go up, you can climb up to the top, you pay a little fee, you go up, you have great views of the kind of downtown area. And the drum thing is really cool. They still beat the drum occasionally, but you can get your picture of the big drum with the big bell and the bell tower. And the bell tower actually crosses the center of the wall, part of the city, so you can see the east, west, north, south gates and everything. So it's kind of cool. So checking out the bell tower and going up to the drum tower, that's number 5 on our list. Number 6, now I told you, there's a wall around the city. There's a huge wall. It's ginormous. You can ride bikes on it, you can rent bikes, you can take a rickshaw around, you can walk on it, have a picnic on it. It is really cool. My recommendation is go to the south gate, go up there and then walk around, because it is really cool. And it's one of those things you really have to do when you're here, because it's very special. It is the best preserved old wall in protective barrier wall in China, and so you really get to enjoy it and see it how it was, because it's still up that way. Number 7 on our list, you have the Big Goose and Little Goose pagodas, these the big tall temple kind of things here, and also you have the Temple of the 8 Immortals. So there's 3 big kind of religious temples around here, complexes you can go and check out. Then number 8, you can head out to the hot springs and see those out there. A lot of the tour groups, what they'll do is when you go out to see the Terracotta Warriors, when you're coming back into towns, you'll stop by the hot springs, so that's kind of cool to check out. Number 9 on our list is the Xi'an, if I say it correctly, Museum of History. It's history of this region, so yes, they do have some of the Terracotta Warriors there you can check out, but they have all kinds of other things that not just from the Terracotta Warriors, so you really appreciate the cultural diversity of this town, because they have the pottery, they have all the stuff from the traders that came through here on the Silk Road and all kinds of things. Guys, this used to be the capital of China a long time ago, okay? And you have all that history that's here with it, so you go to the museum there and you can really see all the stuff from this region. And the 10th thing you want to see here is the Binpo Neolithic site. And this is basically 6,000 years ago. There was a maternal society that lived here, and you can still make out where the houses were and everything, the moat, tons of skeletons, pottery, all kinds of stuff like that. It is kind of cool, because you can really realize that, guys, you go to the US, you go to a town, maybe it's 200 years old. Europe, you go, actually what they say is, if you want to see China's last 20 years of history, go to Shanghai, okay? If you want to see the last thousands-year history, you go to Beijing. If you want to see the last 6,000 years of Chinese history, you come here to Xi'an. And this Binpo site, that's where you get it from. And guys, I gotta say, coming here, the people are fantastic, probably the nicest people I've met in China. The food is awesome, and there is tons of stuff to see, and of course the terracotta soldiers are here, and you really have to see them because they are so awesome, okay?
The top 10 sites to see when you're here in Shanghai. Now, the first thing you're going to really like to do is come on the riverfront and walk on the Bund, or the Bund, it depends where you're from. And you have all of these buildings here, kind of, classical buildings here, which don't really fit in with China. But here, Shanghai was, basically taken over by foreign influences for quite some time, and you see that influence in the city. And one of the cool things to do is to walk on the river, take in the sights across the way while you're here, and just enjoy it. So it's just strolling on the Bund in the day, or the Bund at the daytime is very nice. There's lots of nice hotels, lots of nice architecture to check out when you go there. So that's the first thing you want to do. Now the second thing you want to do when you're here is take a river cruise, but take it at night. So those cool buildings over there I was showing to you, you can see those all lit up, because it is really cool, and you really feel like you're in this Asia futuristic city when you do it. It is the coolest thing to do when you are here, okay? So definitely take the river cruise, especially at night, so you can see all the city lit up, and it is beautiful. So that's the second thing. The third thing you want to do when you go here is go to the Shanghai Museum, so you can get a really good idea of what the city's like, and you have a much more appreciation of the city, and there are some cool sights to see inside of it. The fourth thing you're going to like about coming here, and the fourth thing you want to see, is going to the French concession area. Now, like I said, the city's very international. It's been taken over by foreigners for some time, and they've left a mark in their architecture, as you saw in the Bund. But also the French concession area, you go there, the restaurants, the shopping, the architecture, everything there makes you feel like you're walking in the streets of Paris or Berlin or something like that, and it is really cool. It's something very different than other parts of China you go to, and that's one of the reasons why I think you'll really enjoy it, especially if you've been, like us, we've been traveling around China for 6 weeks now, and we're ready for some non-Chinese food, some French food and stuff like that. And they have a fantastic food in the French concession, also fantastic shopping. The fifth thing you want to see here is there's not a lot of temples in Shanghai because it's a really big booming city, and you know the temples were from long ago and it's a small town then, but the one temple you got to see is number 5 is the Jade Buddha Temple. Super fantastic. You'll see the Jade Buddha that's there. It's obviously not a Chinese one, it's probably from Southeast Asia or something by the look if you compare it to the other Buddhas you've seen around China, but it's a nice temple complex. You can go in, see the things there, and get a rough idea of how the monks work. It's a working monastery, so there are monks there doing stuff, so you can go there. It is kind of a cool just setup. It's something very different from the rest of the city. Number 6 to see is the Yuan Gardens. Now, this is what, I mean, we went there yesterday, and it really is like an oasis in all the craziness of this city, packed on top of each other. There's this nice garden you can go into, walk through with the lakes and the streams, and you know, outside you have the zigzag bridge going to where the entrance is and stuff like that. And you really get to feel like you're in nature, and it takes you away from the hustle and bustle of the city. So if you are getting a little overrun with all the tourists and the pushy, you know, bag hogs, and hey, come on, buy some watches and stuff like that, it's a nice 30 yuan to go in. Kids are free. Really nice just way to relax and take some time off, and I really enjoy. That's probably my favorite thing in Shanghai was going in there and just relaxing. Okay, so the Yuan Gardens, that's number 6. Number 7 is shopping, and the one place you want to go when you go shopping is the Nanking pedestrian street. So you have all your big, you know, international brands, and you have domestic brands and all kinds of stuff. And it is cool just to walk up and down the pedestrian street and people watch, but also go shopping, going eating, all kinds of fun stuff like that. Number 8 on our list is going to an acrobat show. Now, anywhere you go in China, there's, well, any of the big cities, a lot of them have acrobat and kung fu shows and stuff like that. Whatever it is, Shanghai is probably the most famous for this. So when you do get a chance to come here, make sure you sign up to go watch an acrobat show. It'll take about an hour and a half of your time, and it's well worth it because you'll see people bend and you're like, I don't know how they really do that. And you'll see that, and once you watch the Olympics with the gymnasts, then you'll be like, oh, that's nothing. I saw the acrobats in China. So that's number 8 on our list. Number 9 on our list is eating here in Shanghai, guys. Whether you like Chinese food or Szechuan, whether you like Szechuan food or French food or whatever, the food here is great. And you want to eat the dumplings when they're here. It's kind of a specialty, but there's one you have to eat. You'll see it in some pictures, and it's a big dumpling with a straw in it. What you do is you put the straw in, but don't go all the way through, otherwise you'll poke it through and it'll spill all over yourself. But you get them to suck the soup out, okay? And it is so good, and then you eat the dumpling. But eating here is fantastic, so whatever you can do, just eat a lot. Obviously, I eat a lot here anyway, but here it's fantastic food. And number 10, the day trips. Guys, Shanghai is a very international modern city, so you don't get a lot of that old world China feel. Getting outside of Shanghai, you can get that feel. And there's 3 places, there's lots of places to go, but there's 3 that I kind of recommend the most. One is Suzhou. And you go to Suzhou, you have all the gardens and the canals. You can ride a gondola through there. Yes, it's not Venice of the East, because it's a lot cheaper and not as ornate, but it is very cool to check out. So Suzhou, easy train ride out there. I think it's about a half an hour, 45 minutes maybe, something like that. Then you have Hangzhou, where you can go and watch people literally dance on the water. The guy that designed or choreographed the Beijing Olympic opening ceremonies, he did that there, and that's really cool. And then the 3rd day trip you can do, and there's more, but one I like is Xi'an. You go there, and it really looks like it's this nice river town. It's kind of like picturesque China. It's like what I imagine Kung Fu Panda, if they filmed it in real life, that's where they'd film it. Now, it is a village, so it's hard to get to. You're taking buses and stuff, but if you can get there, it's well worth it. What does Xi'an do when you do come here to Tianjin? Now, the first thing is you've got basically a huge Ferris wheel, the Tianjin you can ride on. It's about a half hour, costs about 70 yuan. Well worth it because, I mean, it's a half hour going up and around. If you don't like heights, well, maybe it's not for you. But you get a nice view of the city. You can see some of the architecture from there. It gives you a nice overview of the area. So how do you feel here at the very top?
A little nervous. Otherwise, okay. I'm cool looking down. Looking up freaks me out.
There you go. There's what it looks like from the top. You got the river there. One of the rivers coming in. Boat rides, you get down there. There's a temple over there if you can see.
We're on our way down.
You can see the skyline. And you know, you get to hang out with some nice Chinese people that come with you. Also, while you're there, you can jump on a boat and take a boat ride up and down the river, which I really think is a good idea because it kind of reminds me of going to Chicago or Pittsburgh or whatever, where you can take the boat tours and get a nice view of the city and see some of the cool architecture. Because that's another thing you're going to enjoy about Tianjin is that there was a lot of European, I'd say, influence here or domination here for a long time. And so you have, you know, the Italian street here, so you can see Italian architecture. Or, well, there's no Portuguese ones. He was born in Portugal.
and you go and there's all these concession districts and stuff like that. So you get all kinds of Western food, you get all kinds of Western architecture, and if you're, you know, usually getting some more European architecture for you, you'd like to have some, it's a great place for that because it's definitely a different style of city, very modern, all kinds of stuff going here. It's growing very rapidly, but it's not just modern stuff. There's a lot of older things here as well, like the Dabe monastery behind me, which you can go in, which is, you know, doesn't have the hugest Buddha like you do at the Lama Temple, but inside it is a very cool thing to see where the monks are working and all kinds of stuff like that. And all around town, you can go to the China House here and see this huge house, you know, 5-story building that's covered in China, which is really cool. You can go to the old Astro Hotel, which is kind of one of the more famous things here, and see, you know, how they lived it up here, you know, 100 years ago, 150 years ago. Actually, it's 2013, so I think they're celebrating 150 years here. And one of the things you're really going to enjoy about Tianjin is that you can, you know, if you want to have German beer, you want to have Italian food, they have a lot of things here, and it's actually very authentic. And one of the favorite things we like to do when we are in Tianjin is actually just go walk along the rivers, because they have all these walkways and river walkways and river passes you can go down. It's fantastic to relax and have a good time at. So I hope that gives you a rough idea of some stuff you can do and see when you are in Tianjin. It is worth it. I mean, if you've got a Sunday free in Beijing, you know, take the train. They literally go almost every 10 to 20 minutes from Beijing South Station, and it is really a fun thing to do because you come here and you can get away from the hustle and bustle of Beijing, go down the river, ride the eye and all kinds of, check out the temples and all kinds of fun stuff. And the people are really friendly. You know, we've gotten people who've been giving our kids all kinds of tasty treats and stuff, and you got the eye right over there too, and you just have a really good time. Now I can say, you know, the importance of like budong, I don't understand, or buyao, I don't want. You really don't know buyao and ni hao, how to say hi. What I'm going to do is have a friend of mine come and help us learn some of the basics of Chinese. Now it's kind of noisy here because the day's starting, you know, it's like 40 degrees, 105 at 7 in the morning, but the cars are going and it's getting kind of loud. So we're going to go inside, film inside, and give you guys a rough idea. So, we've come inside from the sweltering heat of Shanghai to a much more comfortable environment and a much more attractive presenter than myself. And so we have some of our basic phrases. What we're going to do is give you the vocabulary and a little bit of the explanation behind it. Now the first word we have is hi, and hi in Chinese is
你好，你好。
So, ni hao. Now you also hear people say ni hao ma. So, ni hao ma means how are you, but I'll let her say it since she's better at it.
你好吗？你好吗？
And that's how are you. Now it sounds the same. All the difference is you put a ma at the end, that makes it a question. But if you just want to say hi, it's just ni hao. But if you say how are you, ni hao ma. Okay, now if you want to say I'm well, that is
我很好，我很好。
okay, so we have that. Now we always want to be polite, and if you want to say please in Chinese, it's
请，请，
now if you want to say thank you,
谢谢，谢谢。
and I will tell you, I've learned knowing xie makes a big difference, because when you go into shops and you say thank you in Chinese, everyone smiles. Yes, they're laughing at us, but they're so happy with it. And my 6-year-old, he goes around and says it, everyone lights up. So just knowing a little bit of Chinese makes a big difference, and knowing thank you is probably the most important word you should know. So, also if you want to be polite, you might bump into people, which does happen quite often, because there are a lot of people if you're in Shanghai or Beijing and Xi'an, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to say excuse me, that is
不好意思，不好意思。
or maybe you step on somebody's toe by accident, you want to say sorry.
对不起，对不起。
Now, usually when people ask you questions, they're asking you yes/no questions, and yes is
是，是，
and no is,
不是，不是。
and sometimes you just hear people say boo, okay, instead of boo shu, but either way you'll know how it is, because that boo, you'll use that in front of a verb. Now, obviously, when you're here, you want to get a lot of stuff. There's great pearls, there's great silk, there's great cool souvenirs, all kinds of great stuff. And if you want something, you want to say I want is,
我想要，我想要。
but if you don't want, you say,
我不想要，我不想要。
or you can shorten it to the tourist version of buyao, buyao. And believe me, when you're going to Xi'an and you're walking out of the tourist mecca of the terracotta warriors and everyone's like shoving stuff in, you're like, booyah, booyah. Here in Shanghai, oh my God, everyone's like, oh, would you like to buy some necklaces? Would you like to buy some pearls? I'm like, no, booyah, booyah. Even our kids know it, because you're going to need to know that one. That's why it's a very important one and why we have it on our list here. Now, if you want to know where something is, where is,
在哪里？在哪里？
okay. Now, if you want to know where is the toilet, always important.
厕所在哪里？厕所在哪里？
Or if you want to know where a shop is, because you want to go to a little store to buy water, because you can't drink the water here, so you got to go buy it.
商店在哪里？商店在哪里？
And then let's just do bathroom by itself so then you know what it is.
厕所，厕所，
So a men's room is,
男士厕所，男厕所，
and a woman's room is,
女厕所，女厕所。
and as you should probably know, a lot of the toilets in China are the squatting toilets, the hole in the ground kind of stuff, and they don't always have toilet paper in them, so bring your toilet paper with you when you go, just to be safe, okay? Now, next, you probably don't speak Chinese, like me, okay, so you have fantastic friends to help you out, but if you want to say, I don't speak Chinese, that is,
我不说中文，我不说中文。
okay? If you want to ask if they speak English, you say,
你说英语吗？你说英语吗？
okay? And then, of course, we're making friends and all kinds of stuff. We want to have a drink, so we want to say cheers. Cheers is
干杯，干杯。
ganbei. So, oh, and if you're going to have cheers, there's a few things you could drink. If you want beer, beer is,
啤酒，啤酒。
and then wine is.
洋酒，洋酒。
So, there's only one last word we want you to know before you go, and that's goodbye. And goodbye is?
再见，再见。
So, or what other things? Can you say anything else at the end? What do you think?
You can say bye bye.
See?
Bye bye.
I have something very important to talk to you about staying here in China, and that is the toilets. Guys, it's squatter toilets here in China. Just so you know, a few things you should know about. Toilet paper goes in over here. You do not throw the toilet paper or the tampons or anything down there because you got to put it in the trash because the pipes can't handle it. Otherwise, it's pretty similar, except I just had to jump down. So if you see these steps, the toilets usually have a step right there, so be careful because I see a lot of Westerners, they walk in, boom, trip, fall right there. Not the tastiest, not the funnest thing to do. But I want you to know that's what's there. Also, so if you notice in here, you have the squatter and there's where your toilet paper goes. But look, there's no toilet paper. You need to bring your own toilet paper when you come here to China, or when you go to the bathroom because they don't have it in there. If they do, it's by the front door, which would be like over there or the entrance. They don't have it here, so you got to make sure you bring it. So for a little more help with the bathroom, it's good to know some of the vocabulary to go with it, like make sure you go into the male room or the men's room instead of the women's room. So we're going to go through some of the basic vocabulary you're going to need to know. Now, a bathroom in Chinese is called
洗手间，洗手间，
Now, if you want a men's room, you ask for the.
男洗手间，男洗手间，
And if you want the woman's restroom, you ask for.
女洗手间，女洗手间。
And what you can do is you can just say non for guys or nude for women, and you'll be okay. Also, know that the bathroom floors can be pretty gross, and my wife gets freaked out every time she comes out. So make sure you don't just have your own wipes, like. Tissues, have some anti-back wipes as well, just in case, okay? Now, if you've got to take a piss, to take a piss is?
尿尿，尿尿，
Okay? Or if you got to take a poop, which it happens, and you got to squat, you've seen it, so take a poop.
拉粑粑，拉粑粑。
La ba ba, hey, that's probably the best line I've heard all this time, okay? Now, for women when you're here, if you need to get tampons, tampons are?
卫生巾，卫生巾。
And you can get those here pretty regularly, it's not a problem. Just know that you do not throw those down the toilets. Usually your hotels and stuff will have it'll say like sanitary bag or something like that. And you put it in there and throw it in the trash. And your toilet paper you throw in the trash. Now the big Western hotels and stuff, you can flush your toilet paper down, but tampons you still got to throw into the trash. And places like more public places, lots of time you're throwing the toilet paper into the trash as well, not down the sink, not down the holes because the system can't take it. But anyway, so obviously I keep telling you got to bring your own toilet paper, but you got to ask to go buy it. So toilet paper is
手指，手指。
and you'll see a lot of people have like little mini Kleenex packages with them, so you just have that and you're fine. Some other stuff, if you're in the bathroom, you got the water to wash your hands. Water is
水，水。
and if you want hot water to wash your hands, that's hot water is
热水，热水。
now if you want a towel, towel is
毛巾，毛巾。
but most likely you're not going to get a towel when you're in the restrooms, you're going to have one of the hand dryer things. So just so you know that. Also, soap.
香皂， 香皂、
Probably not going to have any soap in the bathroom either. So bring your own antibacterial stuff from the US or wherever, because it's very hard or almost impossible to find here in China. Now, I hope this helped you learn a little bit more about going to the bathroom in China so you know what to expect. Now, if you go to a Western hotel or restaurants, they're going to have Western style toilets. And if you go to big main sites like in Xi'an or other places, you'll actually have things like Western toilets this way, and they'll have different ones out there. But just so you know, get ready for the squatters, because even on the nice trains, they'll have a squatter and a normal sit-down one. But for here, the normal is the squat.